Hey, it's Ray's Radio. Whew, it's a big one today. I want to get into why I ended my relationship with alcohol. Letting go of drinking was hands down one of the scariest things I've ever done. I had never spoke about sobriety or even alcohol very much in my practice as a holistic nutritionist because I was still drinking. And I knew alcohol wasn't good for our liver. It's not good for our health. But hey, we're in wine country. We can support local and have fun. And I figured if we all maintain balance, it wasn't really an issue. The thing that I have learned, the majority of us do not have balance with it. And granted, the last few years have given us more than enough reasons to drink more, use more, and many of us did just that. But I felt scared to do it because it had been a part of my life for so long. Substance had been with me through basically everything. The hard times, the celebratory times, the mundane times, the grieving, for over 14 years. So it was like ending a 14-year relationship, and that's what felt scary. So I had a couple pictures up on my blog of me like happy and smiling with my cheeky beers and just having fun. But in those photos, I was actually really depressed. And the dark side that I was hiding in those photos is that I absolutely hated the way alcohol made me feel. Yet it was so ingrained that I continued to choose it. And I felt scared and alone for so long about it because I knew I needed to make a change, but I didn't know how or what parts of myself I'd have to face. I didn't know what parts I had to let go of. I didn't know what new parts had to come in. And I didn't have a community of people that didn't drink. So this is where most of us get stalled. We don't know who we'll have to be when we don't have our security blanket. And that is terrifying. When 2020 came crashing, I was even more dependent, but at the same time, I knew even deeper that I needed to give it up. I had just fled a tumultuous abusive relationship, and like many other hard times, I turned to my old liquid friend. Alcohol was easily accessible, socially encouraged lubrication for the soul, in a poisonous kind of way. These substances fill a void in our life, and they fill the gap so we don't have to feel. And when our nervous system is fried, it not only pours gasoline on the fire, which technically makes our anxiety worse, but then it also fools us into thinking it's helping us to calm down and relax. So we keep looping in this cycle. What a nasty, dirty trickster. Ending this long-term abusive relationship was dark. I had to realize that I was taking from a well that was not giving me anything. In fact, I was giving to something that was not only not giving back, but taking more from me as well. It was manipulative and it was haunting me. I had to dissolve many parts of myself that were holding on to the idea that this substance was somehow making my life better. I had to die many deaths and find new spoons to feed my soul in ways that I hadn't had to do before. And I had to face myself in my darkness without my liquid partner by my side. I had to become a new me, and I had to get out of this cycle. Basically, I had to become so fierce about my own healing in a way that I hadn't had to do before. So like ice cream, nicotine, coffee, potato chips, cannabis, or cheese, alcohol becomes something we easily get into addiction allergy cycle with. Our body doesn't actually like the thing. It causes our body some stress, but we are so used to the way it makes us feel, it just becomes part of us. And our body asks for it, even though it doesn't like it, to continue feeding something. So we continue on with the substance in our life, but we know it's harming us. And so we learn to accept, hangovers as the norm or wake and bake as the norm. And we just learn to accept these emotional wounds that we are just bombing over and bombing over and bombing over. We just learn to brush it off with everything in moderation, or, this is okay. This is just how I am. Even though we secretly know we don't really want it in our life anymore. The wellness industry has confirmed this lie for us by continuously partnering the two together. In the last years, I have seen so much pairing of substances and yoga, wine and wellness, cannabis, yoga, cannabis tours. The truth? Absolutely no substance belongs in a wellness space because they aren't wellness. They are band-aids to attempt to bury or silence our unwell. And if you got psychologically dependent on an addictive substance, me too. The substance did what it's supposed to. It's not your fault. It's the substance. But once we learn that, it is our responsibility to figure out how to get out of it. And I trust that you can, because I did. And I participated in all those wellness events and not so wellness events with alcohol. Hello, wine country. I loved my beer, and I was that cool nutritionist you might find parked at the bar at a craft brewery ready for real talk. And so it was really hard because alcohol was part of my fun identity, and letting that party girl die wasn't easy. It took me a long time. So, like many of us, I was drinking more than usual to cope with the uncertainty and confusion around what was really happening in our world. And when I knew that my drinking was contributing to my mental health struggles, I really saw myself in the loop. That loop of, I'll do this to relax. Oh, that didn't quite do the trick. Okay, I'll have one more. And then you're cycling thinking that, oh, this is doing something, but then not having it causes anxiety. So those long lockdown days, I realized I would never get out of this vicious cycle without just completely stopping. I don't even have to elaborate on how substance use makes us eat way more of most likely super unhealthy food. So personally, for me, April 2021 was when I had my very last hangover. It was the last time I woke up feeling anxious, crappy, sleepy, groggy, and just not right because of the poor choices I had made the night before. And because I was finally so exhausted with making those poor choices, I stopped making them. Quitting your substance dependency is the right kind of hard. If you are struggling with how much wine you're drinking each night or how much you are smoking every day, it's because substances are addictive and we learn to psychologically rely on them. It's not because you are weak, broken, or have a problem to feel shame about. You are not the problem, the substance is. And you can ditch that problem. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. And you just need support. We've been through so much in our world. And it's time to dig deep. It's time to heal. It's time to look at all those parts of us that are affecting our use. It's time to look at how our ancestral lines are playing a role, and how were we taught this, or who are we emulating, or what is this numbing? There's so much that we can play with in observing what's really going on with our relationship with alcohol. This is my story of ending my relationship with alcohol. And I would appreciate so much if you felt inspired in any way to start questioning your relationship with alcohol, to share this with someone. Share this with someone you've had conversations with around abuse or misuse or overuse of cannabis or of alcohol. Thank you so much for listening to my story today.